They're very capable. 1 out of 5 times they're successful when they go on a hunt. They have to do a lot of work to be successful. So here you have a cheetah who's a mother who is extraordinarily connected to her baby. She is amazingly connected. She knows what her baby's sounds are, whether the baby's in trouble. She can be laying down sound asleep and the baby gets about too far away from her and she wakes up. She just knows. There's an intuition, a consciousness, an awareness that goes with the cheetah. I've also seen with every mother that I've ever known. That consciousness is amazing, but the same cheetah cannot live on that alone. One of the problems I think we have in our society is we have scripted roles for men and for women. If you're a man, you get to be a lion. If you're a woman, you get to be soft and sweet and tender and pretty and voluptuous in the right places and all kinds of things, but not powerful and strong. The truth is in the wild kingdom, if you're a mother that's going to be successful, you better be strong. You better be clever. You better be insightful. You better be capable. You better be able to stand up to the enemy no matter what it is and be strong enough to say you're not going to win. I see mothers do that all the time, but they don't get appreciated for that. In fact, what they get is they get to be called aggressive. She's very aggressive. I thought she was assertive. Well, you could think she's assertive, but I think she's aggressive. She just says whatever she thinks. Whoa. Do you say whatever you think? Well, yes, I'm a man. We can do that. So we have scripted out roles for women that don't include all of their necessary skills, but also all of the necessary skills that they need to impart on their children as well. Because the most marvelous thing about the cheetah story that we watched was a 2-year follow of the cheetah, is that the baby cheetahs learned everything they needed to know to survive from their mother. And they learned to be careful when dad was around. But they didn't learn much from dad. They learned it all from the mother. Male or female, they learned what they needed to learn from the mother. In the human species, we don't like to say that that's true because that gives too much credit and too much power to women, except it is true. And we can see by the numbers of people that are damaged as they grow up that had very poor mother relationships, how deep the damage is and how difficult it is for them to survive and to thrive. Young boys who have a good relationship with their mother are much more likely to have a good relationship with a woman. Young boys who have a terrible relationship with their mother are much more likely to have fractured relationships with women all alone. And the problem with that is they haven't learned how to relate to that gender, nor have they necessarily learned how to manage their own emotionality. So one of the ways men manage emotionality is they don't have any feelings. And they learn that if they don't learn how to express them. So women play a vital role in helping men mature and women mature into full human beings. And that is a daunting task. That's an amazing thing to think about. To actually bring a baby into the world who has no skills and no ability to survive and teach them everything that they need to know while at the same time taking care of yourself and everyone else around and making sure that dinner does include dessert. Kind of amazing when you think about it. So I think today is a celebration of the awesomeness of a role that we don't even like to begin to look at. We don't like to look at it because it is so complex. It is so earth-shattering that it's just too big for most of us to want to grapple with. And if you ask most women who haven't had a baby, would you like to have? Yeah, I think that would really be so sweet, something to love. And what about 2 years from now? Well, it won't be wonderful, it'll be tough. What about 5 years from now? What about as soon as it can say no? And it will start saying no fairly early on, just to make sure that you understand that this is going to be a challenging relationship. You're going to have to be a strong cheetah. The challenges that go with that are just so incredible, which also means we, all of us, need to give each other more support, more encouragement, more love, more kindness. At the hospital where I work this week, we've had a lot of women come in for one procedure or another, and that's always the case. And so I've asked each of the women when they've come in, I said, are you a mother? And they've said, yeah, I am. Why is this a problem? I said, no. I just want to thank you for your service. Really? Yeah, wow, nobody ever, the military is 4 years. If you sign up for it. 2 years if you get drafted. It's 18 years if you decide to have a baby. Thank you for your service. And many of them said, it's not over at 18. I know, you have to close the room, lock it up, change your address, but still, it's not over. Wow, what a daunting task. But what if we treated women like that? What if we said, so how long did you serve? 18 years. How many? 4. Whoa. Did you get any high rank? No, we didn't get included at all. When there wasn't enough food to go around, I didn't get any. Right? Wow, so you served in combat. Yes. So I think our women are combat veterans, and they need to be recognized as such. They have survived intolerable, impossible circumstances and situations. I know when my son was born, he was determined from the day he was born for about the first year to make sure that he was the timekeeper at night, and he would keep time at night. And I often wanted to get up. I just so much wanted to get up and feed him and take care of him. And I didn't, because I didn't have the equipment. So his mother would feed him. And I was so grateful that she had the equipment and I didn't. Because there were so many nights when she didn't sleep because of that. But I don't ever remember telling her at the end of that, thank you for your service. I think I just accepted it as what mothers do. It's okay to accept that this is what mothers do. But it's also important to be able to say thank you. You were amazing. This is not something that just anybody can do. And even those who decide to do it don't know how to do it. They have to get instruction. They have to learn. They have to be taught. And they have to go it alone. When you're a mother, you're doing it by yourself because Dad's not going to say, well, this is how you do it. He's going to say, I hope you can handle this. I got to go for a little bit. I'll be back in about a year. Yeah. We're not as good at sticking around and seeing it through. I was a full-time dad. And being a full-time dad meant that when my wife worked the evening shift or the day shift, I worked the other shift. And we took shifts. And I know what it's like when he starts crying and you've done absolutely everything you possibly can to get him to stop crying and he's not stopping. And you're thinking, he must be broken. And you think, this just can't go on. It can and it will for another 5 hours. And you think, oh my God, this is impossible. When will she be home? My Savior. And as she comes home, thank God you're home. I don't say thank you, I just say thank God you're home. And so I think what we really need to do more than anything else is to look back and appreciate the service that has been rendered by women that has made it possible for us to be here and be alive. That's made it possible for us to have the lives that we live. Now, I grew up in a pretty decent home, not too many conflicts, not too many struggles. My father was mentally ill. And so he wasn't employed a lot of the time. We lived in a one-room hotel one time for a whole winter. And it was a really bad hotel. It was a hotel for alcoholics. We weren't drinkers, but most of us, even as kids, wanted to start drinking. And we lived in one room, and we had one window. And my mother used to open the window up, it was winter, and put the bottles of milk on the shelf, or on the edge. So we had a place for cold milk, and we had a hot plate. In spite of that, and we had soup, and sometimes we had ice cream for dinner, and we didn't have regular meals, but in spite of all of that, we had a cat. His name was Bittens. We loved the cat. My mother took good care of the cat, and we didn't know how bad it was. Because even though we all lived, and there were 7 of us, we all lived in a hotel room, it wasn't that bad. And then we moved to the country. That wasn't so bad either, although we didn't have running water. We didn't have a bathroom. I had to go out and help dig a well. So we had some water coming in from the hill behind us. We didn't have a bathroom. We had an outhouse. But it wasn't that bad. We had a cat. And my mother always had some sort of food on the table. And she managed to make it work. And I can remember Saturday, many of you haven't had this experience, of all of us getting our Saturday bath. And my mother would heat the water on the stove, boil the water on the stove, and my father would bring in this big, looked like a feeding trough for cattle, set it in the middle of the kitchen floor, and we'd pour the hot water in it and take turns getting our bath. That wasn't a good time, but interestingly enough, my mother made sure that it wasn't a bad time. And I didn't realize how much we didn't have for a very long time, because she made it work. Now, what she could have done is had tantrums and screamed and hollered and said, this is not tolerable, we can't live like this, what are you thinking? She didn't. She said, we're lucky we have any water at all. And we did. I had to walk 1.5 miles to get a gallon of milk and bring it back. Best milk I ever had. Wasn't a bad time. My mother would always say, you carry that all by yourself. You are so strong. Would you like 2 the next time? Yes. I would bring back 2, and you brought back 2 gallons of milk and you carried that all by yourself. Wow, you are so strong. I couldn't bring 3. But the encouragement, the sense of pride, the sense of dignity that we had growing up in absolute poverty was because we were taught that we were something. We were taught that we had value. We were taught that although we had nothing, we weren't poor. Mothers can teach that. Or they can teach that everything is really bad, but most of them will teach that, in fact, this isn't the worst it could be. We once got a mahogany table from a secondhand store. And my mother and father both marveled at the quality of the mahogany table. And they explained that not many people had a solid mahogany table. Most people had tables that had veneer. Now granted, we didn't have indoor heat. We had tar paper on the side of the house during the winter, and we had to go out to the bathroom outside, and we had to go get a bucket of water from the well, but we had a mahogany table. Not everybody has one of those, They're pretty impressive. To be able to find something to admire and to appreciate and to like and to love amidst so much that was missing was really an art. And I would go to school wearing my Salvation Army clothes, not liking my shoes that didn't fit, and thinking, we have a mahogany table. Not everybody has one of them. It's kind of amazing the things that you have pride and dignity. Today, when I go to a used furniture store and I see a solid mahogany table, I kind of want to touch it. It means something to have that. The things that mothers give us, we don't even notice. And they keep giving them to us until finally we object that they're giving us more than we want because we want to be on our own. And then they sort of let us be on our own until we come back and want more of something that they've got. And if we're lucky and we're blessed to have good mothers, they say, thank you, glad to have you here. So today's a tribute to moms. It's an appreciation. Thank you for your service. You're amazing.